Well, for the latest, it's all happening in Canberra. Angus Taylor's gone to say to Sussan Ley, it's on, I want your job. Cameron Redden, what have you got?
But we can't mince with words.
Oh,
the Liberal Party is at the worst position it has been since 1944 when the party was formed. That is a confronting reality and we cannot ignore it. We have failed to hold a bad Labor government to account. We've seen a collapse in Australians' standard of living. We've seen a failure to protect Australians' way of life. Australians want better from the Liberal Party. Our supporters, those that have voted for us, and those who might have voted for us at the last election, as well as Australians more generally. I think Australians generally understand that a strong Australia means a strong Liberal Party. We must have a strong Liberal Party if we're going to have a strong democracy in this country, and we're going to hold this bad Labor government to account. The situation right now is devastating for Australians, and for that reason we need to urgently restore confidence in the Liberal Party. That means we need strong leadership, clear direction and a relentless and courageous focus on our values. As a first priority, we need to protect Australians' way of life. We need to focus on restoring their standard of living. I don't believe Sussan Ley is in a position to be able to lead the party as it needs to be led from here. I've just a few moments ago tendered my resignation. I will continue to serve the Liberal Party and to work towards getting to where it needs to be. If it is to have the strength to make a contribution to this great nation, the kind of contribution that he has conventionally, traditionally made. Happy to take a couple of probes. Yes.
This is the biggest gamble of your political career. Yeah. Have you got a new policy direction, or is this simply a hate job?
Well, as I said, what we need right now is strong leadership, clear direction and a courageous focus on our values. And the first two priorities, probes, should be protecting our way of life and restoring our standard of living. I think Australians have seen failures on that under this Labor government. They clearly have, and they want better. And we see that in our communities, we see that wherever we go. That will be the focus.
What did Sussan Ley say in terms of timing? Yeah. Just in terms of timing, is there a vote tomorrow? Is there a vote Friday? Did she say I'm not having a spill? Did that come up?
This is about my resignation. That's what I'm talking about here.
If I could just ask, it's almost 7:30 now.
Yeah.
No, we've been out here for a little while. Why has it taken a few hours, quite a few hours since the Herzog meeting and so on? What's been happening over the last 3-4
Well,
hours?
it was important that the Herzog meeting happened without interruption. I think out of respect to that very important meeting and that very important visit, I think that has been important. But look, the process here more generally for all of us has been to talk about the future of our party. As Liberals, we want to see a strong Liberal Party, and we know that means we need strong leadership, we need clear direction, and we need to focus relentlessly on our values. And that has been the focus of discussions I've been having in recent times with my colleagues.
Mr. Taylor, to be clear, what exactly will you do differently from Sussan Ley?
Well, I think I've already outlined much of that. So the focus will be on restoring our standard of living and protecting our way of life. That's what Australians want to see, and you'll hear more from me and others, I'm sure, in the coming days about that. Cam, we'll take one more question from Cam.
You're a senior member of Sussan Ley's team. You say she's lost the ability to lead. What responsibility do you take for the position the Liberal Party is in?
Yeah, I think we've all got to do better. The party has to do better. We have let Australians down. Whenever we're out in the community, all my colleagues, I hear the same thing. When we're out in the community talking to whether it's our branch members, our supporters, or just Australians getting on with their lives, we hear time and time again that the Liberal Party needs to do better. I fully understand that, and that is why I think the current situation is unsustainable, and it's why I've made the very difficult, just hear me out, that's why I've made the very difficult decision that I have tonight. But I tell you what, I am absolutely committed to restoring confidence in the Liberal Party, to ensure that Australians regain confidence in the Liberal Party and steering the Liberal Party back to where it needs to be if we are to have the strong Australia that I so much believe in. So thank you very much, everyone.
Sussan Ley had a fair go.
Well, okay. So we're going to get... It's a promise for strong leadership, clear direction, focus on our values. What are those values? I don't know, didn't say. Restoring our standard of living, protecting our way of life. Labor would say the same, wouldn't it? Who wouldn't do that? And we've got to do better. How? Didn't say. Magical mystery tour, we shall see. I mean, this is what I said. What does he stand for? I mean, this was the perfect opportunity. I don't get it. Joining me is the political panel, Cameron Milner, former Chief of Staff to Labor leader Bill Shorten and now Director of GXO Strategies, and Michael Costa, former New South Wales Labor Treasurer. Cameron, if you had sent out a leader to announce, you know, or a potential leader to announce, I want to take over the party, would you have told him to just stick to this message, strong leadership, clear direction, focus on our values and not define what the direction was or the values were?
Well, certainly not, Andrew. I mean, the opportunity to actually have free air to say what's wrong with the Liberal Party and where you want to take it is surely what's going to bring any sort of, you know, wavering votes across the line inside the Liberal Party room. No, it was a vacuous statement. But then Angus Taylor's all about being vacuous. I mean, he didn't have a tax plan, he didn't have a deficit plan. He contributed to the 94 seats that Albanese got at the last election. I mean, this guy's culpable for giving up on cost of living as the election issue for Peter Dutton. So no, I mean, this was just typical Angus, which is, you know, mealy-mouthed words, no content. And that's the problem for the Liberal Party. It's not about the personnel, it's about having a plan and policy as well, Andrew.
Michael Costa, these ringing words, we've got to do better. How will you do better? Won't say. Does that enthuse you?
No, it doesn't, Andrew. I think it was all waffle. Actually, it reminded me a bit of Malcolm Turnbull's challenge, you know, where he just, I'm the person that can make the difference. Forget about the policies, it's just me. It's this sort of born-to-rule mentality. I thought that was appalling. I mean, he didn't even announce a leadership challenge from what I can gather, unless there was a question that I missed. He's just basically said he's resigned you know, he is going to deliver strong leadership. I don't know what policies are going to underpin the other claim of lifting living standards, but he had that opportunity as Shadow Treasurer and he failed. Look, I think they had to replace Sussan Ley if there is a challenge, but I think this is a very short-term leader if he ever makes it.
That's weird. You're quite right. I mean, Cameron, he says he's resigning and he won't even say if and when it's challenging. I mean, well, I presume it's challenging because he said they need a new leader, but, you know, when is he challenging? I didn't hear that. Did I miss it? Maybe I missed a couple of words at the start, but really?
Well, there's a saying in politics, isn't it? You know, real power isn't given, it's taken, Andrew. You've got to take it with both hands. And this bloke came out, as to your point, Michael, mealy-mouthed, you know, wishy-washy, few words like that. I mean, goodness me, Albanese will be quaking in his boots if this is the challenge from the other side. I mean, look, I think the missed opportunity here is they did a factional backroom deal to park Andrew Hastie, who would have been a devastatingly good opposition leader, and plumb for Angus Taylor, who is a proven dud.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Michael. I mean, you heard Cameron say Andrew Hastie would be devastating opposition. I think he's got the potential to be a devastating opposition leader. That's as strong as I'd put it. But he's never run a department. He hasn't got experience. He gets a little cross under questioning. I don't think he's mounted any case in particular where people say, yes, you are our man. And it always seems, and I know this is unfair, but it seems like he's hearing the voice of God rather than, can we just all get together and, you know, I'm going to give you what you want, but I'm listening, I'm malleable. I'm not sure he's that kind of easygoing guy. What do you make of Andrew Hastie?
Well, look, I think he's the only hope they've got, actually. I think that's right. I think that the time will serve him well. He can mature. As for running a department, you know, Bob Hawke went in and he never ran a department. He ran the ACTU, but he never ran a government department. He made a fantastic Prime Minister. So really it's about his maturity. I think they've done him a favour by putting him on the bench for a period of time. You know, I think he will grow into the role. I think he is the only one that I see that's got the cut-through and the charisma because that's the other problem with Taylor. There's no charisma there. He might be really smart, but, would you like to spend, an evening having a meal with him? I'd fall asleep. Look, the bottom line is that the only person they really got is Hastie, but I think he is too green at the moment. But, that could change in 12 months, depending on the polls.
Well, maybe that was James Patterson's theory about telling his friend, look, I'm not going to back you after all, that maybe they're saving him for a little bit of seasoning. I mentioned the polls. I find it amazing. Here's the Liberals almost stampeded into voting for Angus Taylor, who's got half the support of Andrew Hastie in the poll today. Yep. But that same poll, Cameron, this is fascinating. Sky News had the Labor vote down to just 30%. That's more than 2% less than the lowest vote they've ever recorded in any election. We know the Liberals are a shambles, so you'd think, why isn't Labor's vote higher? Because they've got no competition. But what does that poll tell us about the Albanese government?
Well, it tells us it's a target-rich environment for anyone who can step up as an opposition. I mean, this is not a loved government. It's a Prime Minister with terrible ratings. I mean, no one actually wants him there in the wider electorate, Andrew. But at the moment, what's also telling us, I think, too, is that One Nation isn't just taking from the Liberals. Everyone has this narrative which says, it's the collapse of the Liberals and Nationals, all going to One Nation. No, there's actually Labor voters shifting to One Nation as well. There's a churn going on here, Andrew, and it's what happened in the UK when reform came through the middle. And it's exactly what I think is happening with One Nation here as well. But no, I mean, Albanese is a target-rich environment, and the opposition should be just doing so much better against what is a pretty average government.
I would have thought so too. Michael Costa, what do you make of the 30% support in this latest poll for Labor? I must say that other polls have it going up to 33%, which is hardly better. But what do you make of that?
Well, look, I agree that Labor's not popular, but the problem is that even if they're not popular, in a preferential system, I can see the strategists sitting there saying, look, we're home at the next election. We need to get our preferences right and do the deals that we need to do. They're not under pressure, Andrew. That's the bottom line. And they won't be under pressure until you have something cut through. And unfortunately, I can't see it. I can't see the policies. I mean, the other thing with, Taylor's announcement, why did he mention immigration? The hot button issue that's driving everybody to One Nation. He could have said something, I'm going to reduce immigration, and underpin that with the living standards argument. Didn't do it. Hopeless.
Well, look, and listen, Cameron, you're talking about a guy that was the shadow treasurer. He fancies himself on his financial nous. I didn't hear about interest rates. I didn't hear about inflation. I mean, maybe he's trying to save his hits for a better day, but honestly, repetition is just key. Why no mention of any of that?
Well, perhaps he's actually not that very good, Andrew. That's the problem. We're expecting huge things from a guy who's been pretty awful as a shadow treasurer, to be fair. I mean, he had cost of living running away on this previous government, and he went to an election with higher taxes and higher deficits as a shadow treasurer. I mean, Jim Chalmers' best mate, honestly, in politics. No, I think the Liberal Party got a long way to go, and they need a proper plan and a proper set of policies. To your point, Michael, let's hear some values, let's hear some ideas, and then maybe there'll be an electoral contest.
Well, Michael, look, I don't know, maybe there's a strategy here. What could it be that he's thinking, I don't know, he might not even challenge this week. I don't know. He didn't say. I mean, we're all guessing here now. But is he thinking there's going to be a better opportunity to make my set speech and that? I mean, I don't know. Is there an alternative sort of theory that we haven't thought about yet where it could justify not actually saying what he stands for?
No, he's inept. I mean, Andrew, this is his one chance. Nobody cares about his opposition leader at the best of times. Here's a chance to get on the national TV and put a few policy positions that people can say, I like that guy. He's going to cut immigration. He's going to cut power prices or something. He said nothing. He didn't even say he was challenging. Andrew, it was pathetic.
So how's this going to play out, Cameron? I presume there is going to be a leadership challenge. I don't know quite when. Andrew Clarnell was fairly clear that he would win it. How will that all then play? How do you think Labor's going to go for him? How do you think he'll sustain that? What will he need to do?
Well, I think Jim Chalmers will give him 10 rounds of the room again. The trick here is the Liberal Party actually need to reset their values, Andrew. They need to reset their connection to the electorate. And to your point, Michael, they need to do it with policy ideas. They need to do it with some promises. And so if Taylor just thinks words at his one and only big press conference, where he could have announced all these things and actually set the agenda, he's missed that opportunity. If that's what he's going to be like as opposition leader, Albanese has got it home and hosed, however bad he is.
Well, what do you think, Michael? Is there a chance now that the Liberals looking at that will think some of the waverers, we can't have that as our leader. We'll stick with Sussan Ley. Could she limp on?
No, I don't think so, Andrew. I think those polls have killed her. There's no chance of them with Sussan Ley. I think that they're going to have to back him in. But the problem is what I said right at the beginning. He just feels like Turnbull to me. He thinks that just the very fact that he's the leader is going to transform it. No policies, no strategy. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The organisational structure of the Liberal Party and the coalition in terms of on-the-ground electioneering. I mean, they were incompetent, as we saw in the last election. Where's the strategy to turn all that around? If they can't turn it around, sorry, they're not going to win the next election or the one after that, the way they're looking.
Well, I'm going to just suggest something that one of the players suggested, probably more like a Hail Mary, fingers crossed, let's hope. How about this, will it fly? Sussan Ley offers Andrew Hastie a senior job to give him this season in Cameron that you talked about, give him the experience, get him match ready, offers him a senior position, she limps on. They both then have a chance to buy some time, she to prove she's leadership material, he to become leadership material. What do you think of that?
Oh, look, I think to Michael's point, she's just damaged goods. I mean, voters don't fall back in love with leaders. They just let them go, and they've let Ley go. I mean, she's basically put her out of misery. Step away from the leadership, give it to someone else to go. But goodness me, the choice is pretty horrible. It's Angus Taylor.
Cameron Milner, Michael Costa, thank you very much to you both.
Thank you.